The other elements that I see at play in terms of us as men engaging in this discussion is kind of the ugliness around, you know, if she wanted to be there, she wanted to be there. That's her choice. Um, there are some other things to consider before engaging in that way, and one is age. I remember when Cassie first came on my TV screen. I was a child at the time. There was this pretty girl, real slim, racially ambiguous, and she has this song called "Me and You." Um, she sang it in a cute, light way, but it was very sexual. The song, it was as close to explicit as you could get, but still be on the radio, I think. And I think even they had to mute some of the parts of stuff she said in the song. But this very overtly sexual song. And then next thing you know, she's with Diddy, um, much older than her. And then more recently, we saw this, and I remember kind of my stomach turning when I saw Diddy was with Young Miami more recently. And this is before all this stuff came out. When I saw Diddy with Young Miami, I was thinking to myself, like, man, I know a lot of black men look up to Diddy, and I hate that we have to herald entertainers as our heroes, and a lot of times that's just tied to them having money. But a lot of black men look up to Diddy because of his success. Diddy, Jay Z, 50 Cent, Dr. Dre, things that these men were able to accomplish. People respect them for that. But when I saw Diddy out with Young Miami, I thought, where is this going? And I wondered about the nature of that relationship because the guys that date younger women, a lot of them are quick to defend it and get upset if people talk about why they do it. But I'm going to stand firmly, as I always have, and just talk about the fact that for some of them, it is about getting someone you can manipulate, getting someone you can abuse, getting someone you can coerce, and getting someone that is in a lower financial position to you to kind of keep your thumb on them so that they're depending on you for livelihood support and things of that nature. So when I saw Diddy out with Young Miami, even though she wasn't early 20s, she wasn't a minor, she was late 20s, closer to 30, I still knew about the financial difference that was there. I looked at Young Miami as a struggling rapper. I know y'all might like the City Girls, but I knew that their careers wouldn't last long, and I knew that that wasn't going to be the thing to sustain her and get her and her family out of the hood. I looked at who her baby daddies are, and I'm like, yeah, don't seem too stable, honestly, in my opinion. So when I see Diddy with his status wanting to engage with someone like that, I immediately thought, oh, I wonder what he's using her for. Uh, and similarly with Cassie, we see that in some of the original filings, Young Miami was identified as one of the sex workers. And in many ways now, looking at this new trial, essentially Cassie was being used in that way. So we see a power dynamic, a age dynamic, money dynamic, using women for purposes that you see fit for. Uh, and people can agree to things, but it doesn't mean that just because someone agreed to something that it was right. And I hate that to help men understand why some of this stuff is problematic, you always, unfortunately, you commonly have to use a woman in their life that they care about. Then they suddenly realize, oh, that's not cool. So let's just say you, as a man, you have an adult daughter, you end up dying one day, and your wife is old in age and not really able to function as much, but you have an adult daughter who's out here just trying to figure life out. She is above the age of 18, but she's an adult, she's above 18. She's trying to figure things out, and there's a manager at her job who is promising her a promotion, but also pressuring her for sex. I'll hook you up with this. You just got to do this for me. Your daughter is trying to figure it out on her own. You're gone. Your wife isn't able to help as much. This guy's putting pressure on her and promising her a level of security in exchange for sex. Wouldn't you just say you wouldn't want someone to put your daughter in that position to even make that choice? For her to have to potentially be struggling to keep her head above water, potentially to to feed a child, and she may not have other layers of financial security, and now she really has to weigh the options. Is giving my body up in this way, is doing this with this person worth what they're going to offer me? And I think reasonable people would say, I wouldn't want my daughter to be put in that position. And if you can understand that in terms of, even if she agreed, I wouldn't have wanted her to be put in that position, then I think you can understand why, in this Cassie situation, yes, she went along with some of it, but look at the time in which it started. Look at the dynamics, look at the pressure. And then again, what she's and they are suggesting is there was some coercion, blackmail, so on and so forth. So I think we need to be more compassionate in terms of understanding that just because an adult woman agreed to something doesn't mean that everything is above board, free and clear.
We ain't going out like that. We ain't going out like